Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Bad Dinner Guests. I am Kev Massing. I'm here with my buddy Lou, as always.
Woo!
We are glad to be back. We've got a few interesting topics tonight, at least in our opinion. And that's really all that matters to the two of us anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and sometimes your opinion.
yeah. But
like
never.
how right we are.
Yeah, there you go. As long as it's reinforcing
And
what
to
we
mock
think.
us.
Speaking
So
of...
then I get to go cut myself.
Oh, great. Speaking of reinforcing, positive reinforcement and cutting yourself at the same time, the Cavs so far.
Yeah?
Or should I say I was right about the Warriors so far? Not to toot my own horn, but kind of to toot my own horn there. So, yeah, we were talking about this, not on the air at all, but it's been on our Twitter and Facebook about the Warriors
Comeback.
once they made that comeback. Warriors in 6. I believe you agree with me. I know how much you hate LeBron, which I went kind of full circle.
Man,
I went a little.
I love Cleveland so much, but LeBron, fucking LeBron.
Yeah, I know you think he's a diva.
He's the definition of a diva. He scratches his shoe and jumps 12 feet back, bro. He needs to put those feet in his jump shot and fucking correct his terrible jump shot now.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things.
Does he need glasses or something?
My thing is, why is he shooting so many of them?
That too.
Just take it to the rim. But I mean, 30. It was nearly 110 to 77 the other night, and
plus deficit.
That being a must-win for Cleveland. I mean, everybody talked about that being a must-win for Cleveland, which is rare in a 7-game series for Game 2 to be a must-win. But I don't think you beat a team that went 73-9 4 out of the next 5 games. I don't think anybody does it.
No.
I don't think the Cavs are playing like they can do it.
They don't have their head right to beat a Golden State Warriors team 4 games in a row.
They straight up just might not be good enough, is what I've thought.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
First of all, they keep trying to play the Warriors.
The king has been dethroned.
Potentially. Well, but here's the thing about the series.
This being a repeat of last year.
Yeah, but the thing about the series is Steph hasn't been playing well. It's been everybody else that they've done a decent job, a better job than most, of shutting Clay and Steph down.
And it's the Splash Twins.
It's not them. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's they're shutting down Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. And Game 1, it was the backup point guard Sean Livingston. This last night, Draymond hit 5 3-pointers or something like that. I mean,
that's some nasty business.
Yeah. So I think it's over. I feel bad. I love Cleveland too. I really want to see them win a title, even if it's with LeBron. I don't hate LeBron that much. I don't like the idea of the whole Miami thing, but that's water under the bridge at this point. The guy has been to 7 NBA finals, and he's just LeBron James is the NBA's equivalent to the mid-90s Buffalo Bills. I mean, he just gets there every year, no matter what, and just can't seem to close the deal. Yeah. And I mean, I'd take that back.
Like our one friend says, he unlays himself.
Yeah, exactly. He gets himself unlaid when he gets to the finals. He gets to the front door and licks someone in the ear hole or something. I don't know. But jokes aside, he has won 2, so that's 2 more than me or over half the NBA's players that have ever played.
In New Year's, that's like 12 more than me.
Right. So yeah,
but it's just being mostly living my life in Ohio. It's so disappointing that this fucking basketball savior is nothing but yesterday's fucking business. Never brought home a title to the Cleveland Cavs. It's all about who else is on his roster. If he's the king, man, defend your crown, fool.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why there are LeBron haters, and I understand usually their arguments. I just am not one.
He's overhyped.
I mean, he's got the stats to back it up, but he fails at that one thing. You know,
Right.
Jerry West, the logo of the NBA, went 1-8 in the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
because he kept running into all those great Celtics teams, and
I'm just happy people stop comparing him to Jordan.
yeah, the game's so different now. I have a hard time with that comparison with anyone.
Exactly.
Because if
Jordan played so much more of a physical game than these pussies play these days.
If he had to play
referee, he gave me boo boo.
If Jordan played in today's NBA, he'd drop 100.
Oh yeah,
he would have probably broken Wilt's record. He at least would have topped Kobe's 81, in my opinion. Yeah. If you couldn't hand check Michael Jordan in his prime or foul him hard, if it was a flagrant foul every time he played the Pistons, they wouldn't have even had 5 guys to put on the floor by the third quarter.
Jordan could beat him in a wheelchair with one arm tied behind his back and a blindfold.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, yep, that's definitely possible.
Damn right.
So
he's a Jedi. He's a basketball Jedi.
A gambling basketball Jedi.
Damn right.
So sadly, going from a person that you love to hate to a person that
you love to love,
and you're going to miss dearly. We all know at this point that Muhammad Ali passed, and so we would be remiss if we didn't take a few minutes to discuss what he meant to us and why we loved him and why we'll miss him, even though neither of us has ever been in a professional fight. Because I think who he was and what he stood for went way beyond the boxing ring.
Oh, definitely.
And, yeah, I think he's a hero to people of all different kinds. Actors, writers, Derek Jeter. You know, not just a fighter's guy. So
that Derek Jeter name's a curse word in my presence.
It was just a random name that popped up into my head, you know.
But Muhammad Ali, a role model to the world.
And so what I'm glad, one of the things that has been brought up during this whole thing is back what happened in '67 when
he refused to go to Vietnam.
Yes, when he was drafted and refused to go, because I think people kind of have forgotten over time the era that Muhammad Ali lived in, and because he's been revered. You know, think of it this way: for as long as we've been alive, everyone we've known, everyone at least I've known.
Okay, if you want to put it in those terms, Muhammad Ali stopped boxing in 81 or 82?
81.
And it came out that he had Parkinson's in 84. I'm one of the oldest in the group. I was born in 86. You were born in 88. And Sean was born in 90. So you figure, you know what I mean, that he had long and stopped being the heavyweight title before we were even thought of.
Right. Well, but getting back to what I was saying, though, is he was revered when we grew up. So people our age and younger don't realize that he wasn't always that loved. There were a lot of people that were angry with him. Look at what happens to Cam Newton now.
Well, people used to call him a diva.
Well, yeah. I mean, like look at what happens
and the showboating that he would do. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But I know what you're going at. I'm sorry. I see what you're putting down, Kevin.
Yeah. So that's it's not so much, you know, everybody's been putting up quotes about his, you know, just what training quotes and things that he said in before fights or after fights and stuff like that. But to me, I was never a fighter. I was never a boxer. I played basketball, and that's the sport I've been involved in most of my life, and have a lot in common with boxing. But just, you know, to see a guy who had the world at his fingertips
and ripped away,
had it ripped away, and a lot of people
and fought to get it all back from the ground up several times.
Yeah,
he was a heavyweight champion 3 different times. Lost his belt once and regained it.
Yeah,
56-5 career.
Yeah, shouldn't have even had to be champion 3 times, but
Yeah.
it was a different time back then. But I think a lot of people at the time, and even the players that are still out there now, would argue that oh, he avoided the draft because he didn't want to lose those things, or he they call him a draft dodger,
right.
but a draft dodger is a guy who would leave the country or
right.
gets a letter written or fakes an injury. I mean, he
served his time.
Yeah, exactly. He did what he was supposed to do. He stood up for what he believed in, and even though his beliefs aren't my beliefs, I respect anyone that believes in anything so much that they will pay that price for
Definitely.
it, because there is not enough of that in this world.
You gotta respect a man who does what he believes is the right thing.
And I think that, as controversial as it may sound or seem, I think that should be his legacy. That moment of his life, to me, is more important than anything in his boxing career. And I'm glad that it's gotten brought up, because for so long it's been water under the bridge. But I think we're back in a time in this country where we kind of need a little bit more of that from everybody. There needs to be a little bit more defiance, a little bit more standing up for what you believe in, instead of just sort of sitting around and letting things happen to you. Yeah. So yeah, great man is gone from us. It's been a terrible year for that.
Definitely. Bowie, now Muhammad Ali, and there are several others. Doris Roberts.
Don't forget my man Prince.
You can't forget Prince.
Yeah.
Prince. Good God.
Speaking of things you can't forget, why don't we get to dying to discuss tonight, which is... Go ahead.
My man.
Lay it down for him, big dog.
Steve Rogers, man of Hydra, apparently. That's,
Oh, you're not even going to toss a spoiler alert out?
Oh, no.
Oh, man, you're going to be that guy.
I'm a caustic son of a bitch that's ruining lives.
Can you give us the name of the comic?
I just did. Captain America, Steve Rogers.
Number 1. It was volume 1.
Number 1.
Spoiler alert for anybody who...
Oh, who hasn't had that spoiled at this point?
Anybody who happened to skip to this moment
in life, lived under a rock.
Well, you living under a rock?
Yeah. People that don't even read comics are like, did you know Cap is Hydra?
Don't buy that for 1 second. That you have to live under a rock to not know it, because I only know it because we're doing this episode. Okay. I would have never known it if you hadn't told it to me and sent me pictures from the comic. So I think it's
coming from the guy that got to read the comic for free.
Well, no, I'm just saying I wouldn't have known it. So the spoiler alert would be nice. There's people that didn't know that was coming, but I'm just busting your chops there.
Yeah, and that's why I got them with their mouth open.
Since you went ahead and ruined it already.
Because I'm a ruiner.
Yeah, because you just like...
I lifted my arms in triumph when I said I'm a ruiner.
Yeah, well, visuals to be coming soon.
Maybe.
Not too soon.
You want some of this? I'm lifting my shirt and exposing my nipples now. Chest. Is that what you want, people?
He want.
Smacking that ass. That was really my thigh.
Would you talk about Captain America, please?
Oh,
I'm doing this for you.
I thought we were doing this for us. And our writing children.
There is no us anymore, no.
In the stories that we make. I think it's way too early to get your panties in a twist about, spoiler alert, Cap being Hydra.
Wait, Cap's Hydra?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's Team Hydration.
I'm pretty hydrated.
I am too.
So give them the rundown, because I would do it. I did read the comic with you, but you are more tapped into that universe, and so I know what happened. I saw what happened. I think it's gonna be better coming from you, and then I kind of want to toss at you, sort of my inner conspiracy theorist could not avoid coming to a certain
you have to come up with conspiracy theories for this shit
based off this comic,
and that's essentially in this comic, you see one is set in the past and one is set in the present. Present storyline follows Steve Rogers and two other agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Sharon Carter running support from the S.H.I.E.L.D. base for them. The story in the past is a woman stepping up to help avoid being abused by her abusive husband. And, you know, you follow it along, things happen, it comes out that certain people have certain interests at their heart, and certain influences on a young Steve Rogers that apparently had molded him his whole life, in a sense, of him seeking to do what he believes is right. So I think I want to give it a chance. You know, if it's only the first book.
Right. Fair enough. I think it's funny that you would tell the ending, but then be vague on the details. Then gloss over the details. So there are some secrets still left. So with this, I thought it was very interesting. I feel that, to speak on the comic book side of it for a minute, unless, you know, I know this is its
good
own
ink and good dialogue. It was Drew comic.
Yeah, that's not what I was going to say, but no, yeah, it was a good comic. Where I was going with it was how it's going to affect so many of the past comics and what it's going to do to the continuity. Overall, the continuity of it. And I understand that comics, they bounce around like this.
Oh, yeah. And people die and come back all the time.
Exactly. So this is just another storyline that my thing is because we've talked about this at length before, and we're going to do a future podcast. It's going to have to be a recurring segment about this subject because there's just no way to cover it all in one setting. But the American mythology, the whole comic books are our Greek gods, and
definitely,
you know. So and we talk about art reflecting its society and all that stuff, and it's weird to me to see them get to a point where they're going to make the most American of American superheroes actually turn out to be a Hydra Nazi.
Yeah.
And when you do the kind of research that we've done into history and, you know, certain, in our attempts to try to disprove conspiracy theories and stuff like that, because that is especially one of my big hobbies. I love to investigate those kind of things. It feels weird. We both listen to Ground Zero and Coast to Coast, and so we're familiar with the idea, the thought of predictive programming, or some sort of not maybe predictive programming, but sort of something to try to sway you in your thinking. And so the idea of having Captain America be a Nazi, you know, is absolutely mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Because it just makes me think
he was always a bastion of America, freedom, mom, apple pie, G.I. Joe, baseball, all that good stuff that, you know, that you're supposed to associate with our country.
And it just, you know, knowing the things that we've researched, and I encourage anyone who's listening to do your own research on this. First of all, don't ever take our word or anyone else's word as fact. That's just not the case. You have to do your own research. Yourself. Yeah, you have to do your own research. I could forget and misquote something. You know, anybody who tells you that they're always right and that you always need to listen to them probably doesn't have your interest at heart. So don't take any of this as 100% fact, but we know the research that we've done has shown us how many American companies were involved in the formation of Nazi Germany and the actually funding it. You know, there's Hoover caught all these people, and we watched just yesterday the Smedley Butler documentary about the coup, the fascist coup, the attempt to overthrow FDR.
Yeah.
And so with that weird parallel with it being something that is sort of, I mean, it's not true in a sense that the most of Americans hate Nazis and do not think anything, don't have any good thoughts towards that.
Right.
But knowing what we know about certain powerful Americans that were in fact Nazi supporters,
Disney.
It just yes. Henry
wait.
Ford. No, I was gonna just not say any names, but we can just throw them all out there.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. If you're drinking a Fanta right now, you're drinking that because Coca-Cola needed to find a way to make money in Nazi Germany without sullying the name of their product.
They couldn't sell actual Coca-Cola. They had to come up with a different brand for Germany.
So don't you want a Fanta right now?
Fanta Orange.
Yes, sir. Anyway, so that to me, that was the thing, is like, why is this coming up in a comic book of all the stories you could tell? I mean, and on the other hand, it's really cool, I suppose.
We'll see. I mean, they have, who knows where they're going to go with this. I mean, realistically, it's the first surprise twist in a comic book. And if you've ever read comic books, they're always twists and turns.
Oh, yeah.
And just crazy plot reveals and twists. I mean, let's be honest, in a way, comic books are a soap opera you read.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing probably. That's probably the best way anyone could have ever put it, to be honest.
As much as I love Captain America, I don't think it's kind of a natural progression if you think about it. You can only write about one character one way for so long that eventually you're going to want to change it up and say, hey, what if this really happened? That's one of the series I love the most for Marvel, the What If series. Those are some really good reads.
No, yeah, and I agree with you on that end creatively, that it is cool. It's a cool story, and that it absolutely could go any direction, and it most likely won't end with Captain America being a bad guy.
Exactly.
Just to me, it's just, I could not ignore the whole concept of like
the fallen hero.
Just just of all things, it was just. Well, because, we've talked about the parallels before of Winter Soldier to real life and Operation Paperclip, and I just thought that this one just felt weird.
It does. It does. It feels like somebody touched an important memory in your childhood and rubbed a little doo-doo on it.
Doo-doo on a memory, okay. Well,
doo-doo on a memory from childhood.
That was...
remember when I got you that ice cream cone after we left that store? It's because I accidentally hit you in the head and knocked you out for 20 minutes.
Is it? Oh, so that kind of... I thought you meant like rubbing feces on someone's temples while they were thinking about stuff or something.
No, it's like sure. they reached into your brain and just slightly smeared a little doo-doo on a beloved childhood memory.
Yeah.
Like, remember this aspect? Well, it was secretly because of something terrible.
Fair, yeah. That's a pretty good way to put it.
Remember when we bought you the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and all those games? It's because Jam Jam died. In prison. We didn't tell you about it because we didn't want you to know she was in prison. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Message received.
Right.
So, well, what else you got for me on Cap? You got...
a wait and see. I mean, I'm thinking about picking up the subscription or having them put a hold on it for me at the local comic book retailer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes, that's a service you might not be familiar with, and a lot of our listeners might not be familiar with. A lot of comic book shops will put a hold list together for you.
And that's pretty cool because I've noticed that a lot of the comic books that are really worth having are not cheap.
No.
So they're not a dime anymore.
No, that's for sure.
You can get some really bad comics for $1.
They also have free ones occasionally. Free comic book day.
Yeah.
I missed it this
year.
Yeah.
I forget when it was, but it wasn't that long ago.
It was the day. It was the weekend Captain America opened.
Okay. To May 6th.
6th.
Yeah. Boy, it's sad that I know that.
It was the day after. So it was May 7th.
May 7th.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that was about all that we had planned for. But I kind of want to open this up. I know we wanted to talk for next week. We wanted to start our conspiracy court, where we will be going at opposite ends with each other. We're going to pick a conspiracy theory, and one of us is going to have to pick a side, either debunking or trying to prove it. And we're going to do our research for a week, and we're going to come at each other. And I don't know how we might have to. Some of these we might have to actually flip a coin to see who's on what side, because
we side up too naturally on a lot of them,
and that just makes for bad radio.
It does. Good friendships, but bad radio.
Yeah, we can't just agree on everything around here.
No.
So, because I was thinking potentially
temperamental fool.
Yeah. Well, there's worse things you can call me that would also be accurate. I was thinking that
I was just remembering that post to put on your Facebook with that little baby saying that you're the baby's father. That was funny. I know
it's one of those
Radio Land can't hear or see. Well,
but we're in Radio Land, so
yeah. I know you can't see what I'm talking about, which is convenient because I don't even have a picture of it. But there's this adorable little baby that I put on his Facebook wall. That looks just like him with some glasses.
They don't even know what I look like.
No, they
That's
don't.
the thing. Like this is.
But you just got
here
a picture,
nor there.
A cute little baby.
Oh my god!
And it looking like the guy that's saying it's not his.
It's definitely not mine.
No.
But anyway. What I was thinking is we could at least toss out a couple of ideas. That way, if anybody does listen to this and
33rd parallel.
Yeah, the 33rd parallel would be one. If anybody makes it this far into the podcast and is still listening, we would definitely like it if you would leave a comment with some suggestions, because maybe there's a theory that we haven't even heard of that we can both come at fresh and learn some new things, because at this point, with certain things, we already have some pretty set opinions that, I'd much rather look into something new than say
something old and rehash that we've talked about so many times before.
Which we'll eventually have to open up because we haven't always recorded all those conversations. But I was thinking the moon landing could be a good one, because
that'd be a good one.
Because you and I, while we both agree that there were some weird things up there, I don't think
we have the same theory.
We do not have the same theory at all, because I am of the mind that we've never been to the moon, or that not necessarily we've never been to the moon, that we did not make it to the moon on Apollo 11, that we weren't ready to go there, and that it was filmed.
Keep going.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Oh, well, okay. It sounded like you were going to interject.
I'm just thinking, like, what were you going to say?
That the moon landing was filmed on a film set.
Right.
And
that we went at a different time.
And that we maybe could have gone at a different I don't believe that we were ready.
Because that's basically my theory, too. I think we went and saw that there was shit up there we could not fucking show people. And so we came back and faked it.
Well, it's kind of the same, but I'm saying we never made it at all the first time.
Right.
You're saying that we went up there and saw something that we weren't ready to see. You have like the Transformers theory. You've seen the intro to that movie, right? Like, I can't remember
which one.
The bad one. Is it the Revenge of the Fallen? Maybe it's the one that starts on the moon.
Okay.
It starts with them in the '60s. It basically claims that the Transformers are the reason Kennedy set that date of us getting to the moon so quickly, was so that we could go and for 20 minutes look at this alien spaceship. And so it's sort of kind of where your theory lies of, yeah, we went there, we saw some stuff we either shouldn't see or don't want the public to know about. I'm saying that back then the rocket ships were like a calculator, and most takeoffs and landings didn't fare so well, and that the Van Allen belt has all that radiation, and how do you get through there with aluminum panels? You know,
there's a lot of different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. The photos, obviously something has been done to the photos.
Why aren't there any stars?
The stars,
why didn't they take a telescope?
Why didn't they take a telescope?
To look further into space.
They brought 2 Humvees, but no telescope.
Yeah.
And
to see further than what any telescope had been at that point.
Yes. And then there are the issues of
no stars in the background.
Yeah, which they explain that away by the focus that they used.
Which kind of.
But also, why would you, if you're gonna bring 2 Humvees, why don't you bring a camera or at least bother to adjust the focus and take a picture of the stars on the moon?
Why wouldn't you take a more natural picture?
Who wouldn't want to see that? We're closer to the stars than we'd ever been. Who wouldn't want to see that?
Exactly. It's to say that they only took the 1 camera, really? But you took 2 Humvees.
Yeah.
What did you pack on those Humvees?
And there's the whole issue with the shadows on
overlapping shadows.
Overlapping shadows and the apparent 2 light sources. And one thing that we have learned a lot about in the last year is photography and editing photos, because it's sort of been necessary for what we're trying to do. And after, when you think about, I know it's not nearly as easy to fake things back then as it is now, but you also learn how to see things like 2 light sources and shadows being in the wrong place, and things just not looking quite right.
That, and you also have to figure that the CIA technology, government technology, is always 30 years more advanced than what we have now.
And you do have that argument, because that is true. So what the citizens knew of in that time is not what was available to us.
What was on the store shelves didn't match what was in the spy's man's suitcase of trickery.
Exactly. So again, I never rule anything out. If I believe that if it is in the realm of possibility and I have not been able to do the research to disprove it myself, that it is therefore possible, regardless of what it is. And so, yeah, it is absolutely still possible, and I'd love to believe that it is all absolutely real. But
definitely,
I just have some questions. A lot of people have some questions. Nobody ever seems to want to answer them.
No.
I've shown you the video, I believe, this I cannot remember the man's name, and I apologize for that, but there's a YouTube video.
Is it the dude who gets his hand hit with the lasers?
No, it's the dude who walks around with a Bible and asks every Apollo 11 astronaut to put their hand on the Bible and swear they went to the moon. And, like, the one dude hits him in the face.
Yeah.
Which, I granted...
Our old governor.
I granted that'd be something that would upset you, but if you had done it, I don't know. I can only speak for myself hypothetically, and that doesn't really work well with humans, because we would all like to think we would do a certain thing, but that's irrelevant until you've been there. But it's just odd to me that
you also have to figure, dude, this might be the 5,000th guy that's been
that's done that.
Yeah. So are we really on the moon?
And that's one of the problems with these conspiracy theories and all that stuff, is there's so much disinformation. It's hard to tell what's real and what's been made up and who made it up and why, what their agenda might be. And that is part of the reason why we wanted to start doing Conspiracy Court and take a look at these, because
And
ideally,
even some paranormal stuff eventually.
yeah, and we want to get into the paranormal. I mean, I could talk about aliens any day as well, and ancient religions and
ghosts and demons,
and we're gonna work our way to the occult and work our way through symbolism once we get the video.
Pictures.
Once we get the video end of this thing all worked out,
have you some nice and pretty pictures to put papers at.
We do apologize for any sound issues we are having or had this episode. We are in the process of getting our studio together, so things will improve as we continue. We can promise that, and we will improve as host, we hope. Talking's not so hard, so I think we can do all right there.
I hope we didn't bore the shit out of you. And if we did, it's your own fault because you could have stopped.
Yeah, you can leave at any time. This is an at-will podcast. But so to wrap things up, guys, check back with us. Next week, we'll be podcasting again. Actually, it's this week. We'll be podcasting on Sunday. Well, no, it's next week. It is next week. It's the first day of the week. So you'd already know to look for the Conspiracy Court. We gave you a little sample of what that will be like. We actually only talked about one issue, but
you know what? I'm going to throw this out there real quick. If they can catch how there was disinformation in what you said from what we were told in the beginning, if you catch what I'm throwing down, and you can guess what I'm talking about with Sunday being the beginning of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you did give it away. Wait. Let's not shut the doors yet, because this is maybe one we could talk about. What disinformation did I say about Sunday being the first day of the week?
Okay. So we're taught that Sunday's the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Supposedly it was originally the fact that Sunday was the first day of the week and Saturday was the Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a part of occult disinformation tricking people.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, we're 100% on the same page there.
You just maybe give away. And I was, if anybody guessed that, I was going to give him a nipple shot.
Well, what I thought is that you were
just
saying.
Ruined that
I thought you were saying I was giving disinformation.
No,
that's where I was
I didn't mean you were giving disinformation. I meant that that's a topic that can lead back to the topic of disinformation. That's the subject within the disinformation realm, I should say.
Yes, absolutely it is. And it is an interesting topic to research, because there are a lot of people who don't know how many times the Bible has been edited and who it has been edited by. And I think some of that knowledge would at least raise some questions. It would make you at least want to see the original to compare to. That is a topic I would love to debate. I don't want to necessarily take on or tear down Christianity. I believe that whatever you want to believe, that's your right. And who am I to tell you what you have known your whole life is wrong? But if there is any interest, we would love to discuss the subject and bring up some facts that we've researched and some things that we've learned over time. And let's think of at least a couple more conspiracies, because there's there's the whole there's the is the Vatican secretly the Antichrist? Has the Antichrist been around since the Roman Empire?
Ooh.
We can bring up
the British Crown reptilians.
Is America still just a big old British colony? Because I've heard that one before too.
You trace the bloodlines.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised who you find at the other end of those sticks.
Speaking of those bloodlines, you talk about the royal family and its German ties.
Oh yeah.
And what implications that people have thrown out there. Again, we're not here to say what's right or wrong. We're trying to just point out some facts and raise some interesting questions.
About the people we're supposed to find the most interesting.
Absolutely. And the Illuminati would have to be like its own episode, as would the Freemasons. But if people have interest in that, there's a million other YouTube videos you could find, but we would be willing to talk about our opinions of it. The French Revolution was a coup. That's another one that we could bring up.
I'm actually playing the Assassin's Creed for that time period. The French Assassin's Creed game, Unity.
There you go. Well,
knee deep in that.
Maybe it will show some revealing things. I don't know.
Not so far. I've been playing it like a gentleman and revealing all the map secrets first and taking its goodies.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, I like to. I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it nice and right this time. I'm getting all the treasure chests I can, so I have the money. I
feel it.
Getting all the collectibles I can, so I can reap those rewards.
Reaping that, so.
Oh yeah, and then after, I'm gonna go around and collect all of the treasure chests first, and then I'm gonna go back around and collect all of the cockades. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Cockade. It's a French ornament, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so I'm gonna go back around and do that because honestly, I know that sounds even more tedious than it is, but there are these crowd events you do, and that'll pop up more, and you get like $10,000 for completing 25 of them, or just different rewards at different intervals. So I want to keep that going so I can milk that as hard as I can.
Yeah, I feel you. That's a good strategy. And there you have it, guys. There's the Assassin's Creed Unity strategy right there. Laying it down, because we like to end with a bang on this show.
Ooh.
Speaking of bangs, man, I got to find a new transition besides speaking of.
You do.
I do. I really do.
Maybe you should get it translated into French.
Or just write a few down on my hand.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, we'll come up with some cheat codes.
Right? Down, up, bat, circle D.
Speaking of French, God, I did it again, man. Stop the presses. Deja vu. Okay. I was.
Oh, I thought you were. I saw it on your mouth.
I saw it on my mouth. Yeah.
I saw those words
phrasing.
Trying to enter your speak mouth.
Phrasing.
Hard.
We will be one thing we wanted to discuss tonight, but we wanted to hold off until the weekend is the French reform laws that are going on and all the strikes and protests that are going on over there because of it.
Well, which incidentally was part of the French Revolution. How the proletariat, for lack of a better term, they use a socialist system, was tired of the monarchy abusing them and working them to death. And they wanted better labor laws. And now we see the government has potentially overreached and threw off the balance of what people need. You know?
Absolutely. And
I gotta look more into it myself.
It's
hard to find horses, the source from the mouth of the horse, because I am not very fluent in French.
You were so close to saying it's hard to find the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And that really made me laugh because I really wanted to hit you with that phrasing.
Oh, wow.
So you have that.
The only French I know is omelette du fromage.
Liking that cheese, huh?
Yeah. On my omelet.
On your omelet. Cheese and omelet with cheese. So you've got French omelets and French protests to look forward to next week. We'll dive into another comic. We probably won't have any NBA Finals games to talk about.
No. Well, I mean, we'll talk about who won.
We already know who won.
Golden State Warriors.
And we'll be back at you with our first conspiracy court. You guys have a lovely evening. Thanks for bearing with us. We appreciate you and everything that you do. Nighty night.